Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I have a very special episode here. Something I haven't done in quite some time. And that is the list of the 24 preamplifiers. Yes, you heard that right. 24 preamplifiers that I have owned. And I am pretty sure I have forgotten a few. It is what it is. But not only am I going to give you the list of preamplifiers that I have owned, I'm going to name the top 5 preamplifiers that I have personally liked, and I'm going to rank them in order, plus, of course, what you guys are always interested in knowing. We're always interested in seeing a house catch on fire, so I'm going to give you the worst preamplifier I have owned on this preamplifier list, plus the honorable mention. Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. You know the drill. Please subscribe, hit that like button, support me. I want to do more content like this. List of things I've owned, give you my personal opinion. This is an interesting video. I think most of you want more of this, okay? Took me a while to compile this list, okay, because I went as far back as 2013, I want to say, okay? And so it's a pretty long list of preamplifiers. So without any further delays, let's just get started. Here they are. Long list, I must say. And as I mentioned, there are probably a few preamplifiers that I left out that I can't remember. What I want to do now is talk about the top 5 preamplifiers that I've owned. Those that have left a long-lasting impression throughout the years. Okay, so I'm going to start with 5th place.
Number 5.
The 5th best preamplifier I have ever owned. And that goes to the VAC Master preamplifier. One of the most surprising preamplifiers I've had the pleasure of owning. That preamplifier worked quite well with Griffin. Mephisto Solos, I think, is what I had at one point with it. It really gave the Mephistos a lot more organic feeling. The instruments had more separation, more air, beautiful mids. I never got to roll any tubes. I hear that if you change those tubes inside the preamplifier, things can get better. I just never wanted to bother with that. But overall, it was one of the most plug-and-play preamplifiers that I've ever had. And what I mean by that is the fact that it just sounded really good with most things. Okay, and mind you, that preamplifier has been out for quite some time. I mean, it's been out for a few years. VAC, as far as I know, has no intention of replacing it, and that just speaks volumes about how much they believe in the quality of this preamplifier.
Number 4.
In fourth place, to be honest with you, it's one of the most difficult spots because I could have put many other preamplifiers in this position, but I feel this belonged to the Solution 725, rightfully so. Okay, first and foremost, Solution 725 comes at, I believe, $70,000 MSRP. I know there is a new model 727 that replaces it, and it's supposed to be leaps and bounds superior to the 725. It better be, okay? Because the 725 already brought a tremendous amount of performance. Incredible bass definition. It had a tremendous amount of resolution. The imaging on that 725 was to die for, okay? Everything got separated. There was so much air around the instruments. It never felt bright, but you do have to be really careful with the power chord that you select with this 725, specifically with this preamplifier, okay? Power chords make a drastic difference on any of these preamplifiers, but more so with this 725. I love the construction of the 725. It came in a wooden crate. Thank you, Solution, for putting a real crate, a real box on an expensive line stage, okay? Most other preamplifiers, including one on this list, ship them to you in a moving box almost. I mean, I'm surprised they don't put moving blankets inside instead of actual foam, okay?
Number 3.
Okay, third place. In third place, I have the Darzeel preamplifier. It's the only preamplifier they make is the MK2 version. Okay, current generation, I believe it is $80,000. Okay, incredible, impeccable construction. I do like the gold color. Okay, I will say it. I like the gold red color of the preamplifier. Okay, nothing to really knock it for when it comes to performance. It's a very euphonic preamplifier. Wait a minute, euphonic? Jay, I thought you liked neutrality. Yes, I do like neutrality, okay? But I did like what the Darzeel preamplifier did. Okay, it had a lot of information. It was really, really engaging. Okay, it didn't have the largest soundstage of the bunch. It didn't have a enormous presentation. What it did have was a tube-like presentation. It was very engaging, romantic. It reminded me a little bit of the Luxman, if I'm being honest, which is just to romance you and make you really feel relaxed with the music. It never got in your face. The one thing I'll say, I gotta throw it out there. Gotta be honest, that's $80,000, I think it is. Darzeel, you gotta put a better box. The box that this thing comes in, it's just a cardboard box with some crappy inserts. At 80K, you gotta do better than the packaging materials you're using on this preamplifier. Now, I know it doesn't have to do with the sound. I'm not talking about the sound. I'm just saying the presentation. You pull out this beautiful preamplifier from a box that Amazon uses to ship you shampoo. It looks like an Amazon box that says Darzeel instead of Amazon. I mean, it is that horrible. I mean, hopefully Darzeel can address this in the future. Maybe there is a new version of this coming out. Get better packaging materials for this preamplifier.
Number 2.
Okay, and now we get to the top two preamplifiers. Top two. And second place, I have what Stereophile till this day says. It is the best measuring preamplifier they've ever tested. And that is the Boulder 2110. Yes, second place to me is the Boulder 2110. Now, I know a lot of people are going to talk about, oh my God, it's so dry, it's so analytical. Oh, Jay, so much information, so more detail. Then listen, if you don't really like what's true to the recording, true to the source, find something else. Find a tube line stage, find a Macintosh, find a BHK preamplifier from PS Audio, find something else. If you don't like neutrality, then yeah, this is not going to be the preamplifier for you. But the 2110 is that preamplifier, in my opinion, that will transform your system into something you never thought was possible. The 2110, okay, has the sheer nuance, the neutrality, the definition, the bass control that is true to the recording. The 2110 doesn't lie to you. 2110 is as real as it gets. It is without a doubt one of the best preamplifiers I've ever owned. No questions asked. Only beaten by the granddaddy, the king. The best preamplifier I have ever owned in the history of my channel, my journey. And that is the Boulder 3010. Yes, at $142,000, the Boulder 3010 remains unrivaled in my lab. There has never been a better preamplifier that I have personally owned. I repeat, I have personally owned than the 3010. Nothing. It's been a race for second place. It hasn't been a race for first place. First place is the 3010. Everybody else is fighting for second place. That's how I see it. Keeping it as real as it gets. Why is that? Why do I feel so good about, why do I feel so strong about the 3010? Well, first thing is the 3010, especially with the Chronosonic XVXs that you see here, the bass control, the grip that it had on the speakers through the amplifier that I was using, regardless of the amplifier that I use, okay, the control that it had on the amplifier, the partnering amplifier, was next level. The speakers just had a sheer amount of control, bass definition, impact, never feeling as if the bass was boomy. The bass was tight, no overhang. There was so much nuance, definition. Everything was so clear and beautiful through the 3010. There's the 2110, as good as it is, basically was exposed by the 3010's strengths. And let me tell you, the 2110 is half the money of the 3010. So it takes something twice the money to showcase and highlight the weaknesses of the rest of the preamplifiers that I have mentioned here. In my opinion, the 3010 makes an average sounding amplifier sound like the amplifier that it is not. Okay, it doesn't even make sense in my head how the 3010 can transform an average sounding amplifier into something superior. But that's what the heart of the sound system does. For those of you who have the money, the resources to buy a 3010, and you want to be done with the preamplifier conversation, I urge you to buy a 3010. Believe me, if you hate it, no, you don't hate the 3010. You hate the rest of your system, not the 3010. 3010 is telling you the garbage you have behind it. The 3010 to me is that special component that I will miss forever. Dearly miss the 3010, but you know how I do it. I have a channel to run. I can't hang on to everything forever. The show must continue because many of you get tired of me displaying the same products. So that's one of the reasons why the 3010 is no longer in my possession. Now, all of that said, this brings me to this next interesting point. Jay, what's up with the commander behind you? You said nothing about this thing. I thought you told us this is amazing. I thought you said this was an incredible piece. What's going down here? I did. I said that. Well, here's the thing why I'm not mentioning the commander. See, it hasn't been tested. It hasn't been tested for me. I've only used it with the Apex. I haven't used it with other amplifiers from different brands, like I did with the VAC Master, like I did with the 725, like I've done with the 2110, even the Darziel preamplifier. See, I haven't done that with the Commander, so my impressions on the Commander will come later down the road as I bring more amplifiers from different brands so that I understand how good or bad the Commander is. This brings me to what you want to know. The worst preamplifier from my list. I know, I gotta give it to you. I gotta mention it. Everyone right now is salivating, trying to figure out what is the worst preamplifier from this list. And you know what? I was gonna give it to the PS Audio BHK preamplifier. And I have to be honest, from everything I'm seeing here, it's tough, guys, but I'll say it. It's between the Sim Audio 740p or, I'll give you two, the Griffin Xena. There you go. Two preamplifiers for you. Didn't give you one, I gave you two. I feel like those preamplifiers really disappointed. They were not really anything special. I found other preamplifiers on this list for around the same money that were better, and they were not exactly from expensive brands. Like, they were not top-end brands, okay? I found other preamplifiers that were better, which is a perfect segue into the honorable mention. The preamplifier that I feel needs to always be highlighted because it was a preamplifier that I was extremely impressed by considering the price point. I don't even know if it's a current product anymore, but the brief time I had it here and everyone who was in my room who heard it was always the same conversation. We can't believe how good this preamplifier sounds. It's how much money? I think at that time it was like 13 grand, but you could probably buy it in the used market for like $7,000. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe how great this preamplifier was. And that is the Merle Audio Christine preamplifier. Once again, I have mentioned this many times. This is one of the most surprising preamplifiers I have ever owned. Very clear sounding, great bass control. Don't really like some of the display. It has a couple of issues there with the display. I'm not going to go into detail, okay, about what that is, because I feel like that's for me to know and for you to find out. If you want to know what that was, feel free to contact me, reach out to me, and I can talk to you a little more about this. With all that said, I gave you the list of good and bad preamplifiers, but what I didn't talk about is the combinations, because if you think all you're going to do is start searching all these preamplifiers and start buying them, it doesn't work that way. Remember, it's system matching. It's very important that you consider the synergy of all these preamplifiers with your system. I gave you 5 instead of having 23 to look at, but now it's time to make sure that you choose the right one from these 5 or 6 preamplifiers I've just highlighted. And that's why you should connect with me and see my consultation service on my website, jaysaudiolab.com. That's what I'm here for, to narrow it down from those 5 or 6 preamplifiers into perhaps the 2 top preamplifiers, taking in consideration whatever your system consists of. It is very important that you talk to someone who's done it before you, someone who is doing it currently and has done it at a high level. That would be me. If you have any interest in my consultation service so that I can point you in the right direction when it comes to your next preamplifier, please visit my website, jaysaudiolab.com, and don't forget to check out the for sale section where I have a lot of interesting things for sale. A lot of these components that you see on my channel end up listed there because, as you know, I can't keep everything. Now, I'm curious to know, do you have any experience with these preamplifiers? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Is there a preamplifier here that you think should be highlighted that I didn't highlight, that you had good results with? Tell me. Comment below. That's all I got for today. I will talk to you soon. Peace.